like poor white and like Asians and all that could go to the northwest, but they had to leave. They only had a pass for like a few hours, and then they had to take their asses back, and it's crazy. I was just like, wow, this city is crazy. And it's cool though, because it's so quiet on the surface. You think, what's going on here? It's just so boring or whatever, but it really isn't, and it has never been. It's always been a place of corruption and human trafficking and high amounts of drug sales. And it's just wild. It's just wild. So it was so good to kind of end the summer with a little bit of a history lesson, and to learn so much and actually see, not just learn, but to actually physically see these trapdoors and these tunnels, this tunnel system that existed that was so completely corrupt. And it was just, wow. I mean, it wasn't long ago. It just ended in 1941. So not that long ago. It may seem like a long time ago, but that really isn't that long ago. And the funny thing is, the woman that was giving the tour, who was the worst. Oh my gosh, she was so boring. Like, you know how people tell jokes and they think they're funny jokes and they laugh at them and it's just silence. No one else laughs. You're just like, and poor thing. But one thing I was thinking about doing was becoming a volunteer and help them dig, because they're literally still digging up history. They want to find out and discover more. And I'm interested. I might be in. I might actually start being an archaeologist for the Portland Underground, because I'm interested. I'm in. And I'll see, how they could use me. But I'm really, really considering helping uncover more artifacts and stuff. And the part that was the most interesting, I forgot to mention, was the girl. Okay, well, the girl at my job was like, well, yeah, when I went down there, I felt something pulling my hair. And when I looked around, there was nothing there, blah, blah, blah. So they tell you that it's not a ghost tour, but certainly there are, ghosts down there. And that's pretty much why I want to go, because I was like, well, I want to check this out. I want to see it. So it has showed up in, online as being one of the most haunted places, in America. One of, obviously not the top. And I felt nothing. I'm going to be honest with you. I felt nothing. At not one point of that tour did I feel like somebody or something else was there. I just didn't. I was like, I think the stories themselves were more disturbing than the actual feel of the place. It was a great place, but it just constantly felt like I was in someone's basement. I didn't feel like I was in a massive network of tunnels, and they need to work on that. They really need to work on that, because that's just too much. I was like, and it was $13. Like, I had $13 to spend, so it wasn't like I didn't have it, but it was just like, if it would have been like $7, I would have been much happier. Right? So, yeah, so I don't know, that was really interesting. I was kind of glad to check that out. So, I guess, I really try my best not to get into news topics, because it's just not my thing. But I have to say that I'm really intrigued by the dude who shot the newscaster and the cameraman on TV during the news. That was the most bizarre story. That was just bizarre to me. Like, there's gotta be more. Like, no one just does that and there's no connection. You just can't tell me. There's some kind of connection there, and maybe I'm just missing it. But one, I didn't like the fact that, his sexuality came up in it at all. Like, being well, the fact that they said he was black, which was just annoying, because I'm like, you know what? We don't need to know the color of the shooter, of a murderer. A murderer, it doesn't matter what color a murderer is. The color so doesn't matter. The ethnic background does not matter. A murderer is a murderer. If you find out that there's someone shooting someone, let's just say in the mall, you don't care about what color he is. You just want to get your ass out. So I think I was really annoyed by that. But then, then his sexuality came into play, and I'm like, why does that have anything to do with it, you know? But I was really intrigued that, you know, one, it just felt phony to me. I was like, when I was watching it online, because someone said, you know, watch it, you gotta go on YouTube and watch watch it happen. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, I figured, honest to God, I thought they would blank it out. Like, I didn't think they would show it. I thought they would, like, blur it or whatever. And I should have known better because it's YouTube. And I was just like, okay. And I did get the full version. But I felt weird. I was like, how do y'all not feel there's a person right there with a gun? Like, don't y'all like, I would feel something. Like, just today, I was walking down the street, waiting for my bus, and a guy came really oddly close to me. And it was so odd because he invaded my space. And I turned and looked at him in his eye. I looked him dead in his eye because I moved here, from Chicago. So I looked him in his eye and he moved away. So I'm walking across the street and this lady starts screaming. He stole her cell phone out of her hand. And I thought, yeah, see, you feel something. Like, I don't know what it is, but you feel something. And I was like, how did they not feel his presence lurking? Like, he had a gun and you could see it in his view. And I'm like, didn't somebody like go, how do you even get that close? Like, I've seen people like photobomb somebody, and I think in that case you go, you know, like, that could be a surprise if the person shot you just the moment they jumped up. But he was kind of held it up and then put it down, and I'm like, how do y'all not see that? Like, what's going on? And I just go, oh, this isn't real. And you just, part of you, I was watching it going, oh, this doesn't even feel real to me. Like, is that where we are in society, where we could just walk up on people and just shoot them on television? Oh, no. Just, Jesus, come get them. Come get your people. Oh my God, I was just like so disturbed. I was like, he's gay and he's black. Like, we have to know that. Like, does it even matter? Oh man, it was just like, no. Is this where we are? Is this where we are? And I guess the answer to that is basically yes. This is where we are. So it was just, I don't know. I found it to be one of those things where you just go, you know, like, what do you say to that? Like, how does your like your family, how do they respond to that kind of news? Like, how are they supposed to feel? Like, I question the motives of the media. Is it to make you upset or enraged at the person being gay or the person being black? Like, is that supposed to matter versus your people, your mom, your dad, your sister, whoever it was the relationship was, that they were killed by a lunatic, someone who was obviously not well? Like, those are the important factors there. I don't think his color and his sexuality had anything to do with it, because it wasn't a sexually motivated attack. It doesn't appear to be. It just appears to be that he must have known them or her at some point, or was pissed off or something. But then I saw that his response was something about, this is for the churches and Ferguson and stuff. And you just go, oh girl, you just tripping. But there has to be a connection larger than than what we're seeing and what's playing out on TV. But I think just, I just wonder why that had to be a thing. Like, why did that have to be put there in front of the fact that he, did this horrible thing? Like, why are you announcing who he is and who he has sex with? Why is that important? But I'm just curious, if you have an opinion about it, feel free to, send me a message, tweet me a message at OA Magazine, on Twitter, because I'm curious about what other people's opinions are about that. And, what else was I going to say? There's just like so much stuff in the news. Like I was trying my best, again, not to have too much of a topic, because that's just not what my show is about. My show is off the cuff, and it's about me saying and feeling a way about stuff, and it's not about a pre-programmed show or anything like that. It's just mostly me saying what I feel, what I think, or whatever. But I don't know. What I was gonna say. This is something on the reality TV thing, and I'm jumping around. So America's Next Top Model is back at cycle 29 or 30 or some shit, and they have a really, really handsome gay man on there, and he's deaf, by the name of Niles. And I mean, straight up superficial, he's fine, no question, just fine. And I think everybody's in love with him, and they're in love with him for the because of his looks. He's a great looking guy, and his shtick is that he's deaf, and so he has an interpreter, and now they have some kind of app that kind of helps him tell everybody in the room how he feels, blah blah blah. So the other day, this show is going on, and they're being all 20 years old or whatever, and in the loft, and everybody's feeling a way about being there and getting into arguments and fights and saying they don't like their hair, blah 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 blah. And then old girl Niles says in his best sign language that they're all being spoiled and acting and misbehaving, and that you don't see him complaining. He has a handicap, but you don't see him complaining. And I'm just like, I was so feeling him. I was like, oh, he's just great. He's beautiful. He's deaf. He's beautiful. And like beautiful. And then he went and said that. And I'm like, wait. This is a competition. You're deaf. They can't wait. You're the first person that they want to get rid. That's human nature. Human nature is to get rid of the weak people first. And the first person they're going to want to get rid of is the deaf dude. They think you're hot, and anyone who doesn't want to have immediate sex with you wants you out the house immediately. And I get it. I get it, Niles. It's not like I don't get what you're saying. You're right. Hindsight, you're right. They're spoiled. But they're 20 years old. What 20-year-old person isn't? Like, when you're in your 20s, you're invincible. You don't see life ending anytime soon. You're not paying real rent. At 20, no. At 20 years old, you're still living probably in your mom's place, your parents' home, or at college, the dorm. You're not paying real people's rent. You're living in a basement, sharing a room with 15 people, an apartment. You're not. So, who isn't spoiled? Who isn't misbehaving and being irresponsible at 20 some odd years old? All of us were that way. And it's like, all I could tell myself was if this dude weren't deaf, he would